Well, it's 9:30 and I have a package coming in. I got this carburetor coming in. I got a couple other things, and 9:30 is usually when he shows. Well, in the wintertime, that's usually when he shows up, I guess I should say. And what's interesting is last week I didn't get anything. No mail, no packages. There was one day last week I didn't get anything. And he drove through 9:15. I've never seen him that early, ever. 9:15 drives through. I'm pretty convinced he does hold up the packages till 10:30 when I have a package, and I don't know why. I've never said anything to him. So somebody suggested that he might watch this YouTube video. Okay, well, he watches a YouTube video. You would think that he would want to make sure I get my packages on time, so I would stop criticizing him on YouTube. And he also knows that I can complain if I find out that he's actually doing this. So I let him watch. Oh, I don't think he's from this area though. I do think he's from another town. So what else is going on? Not much. There isn't really anything going on. Got a call yesterday. Some guy had a Dixon mower, zero turn. He wanted me to work on it. It was his father's, which drawn out conversation. Here's the first thing. Never understand why people will message or call on a Sunday after 5. And Carolyn and I lay down to watch a movie every evening at 5 o'clock. Now, there's been a few exceptions. If I have to work or do extra work or edit a video, you know, we won't watch a movie. But man, that's not very often. A few times a year, 2 or 3. So last night, Sunday, 5 o'clock, after 5 o'clock, and I get a message, do you work on Dixon zero turns? Well, I thought Dixon went out of business. And I thought it went out of business a lot earlier than what I actually found out yesterday. But regardless, I had to stop the movie. We had to, I asked AI, when did they stop making Dixon mowers? And they stopped making them in 2014. However, Husqvarna bought them in 2006. So everything prior to 2006, very difficult to find parts for. I mean, you can find belts and blades, but you start getting into actual stuff, and you can't find parts for them. So from 2007 to 2014, Husqvarna produced Dixon. It was really a Husqvarna mower painted blue and wrote Dixon on the side of it. But after 2014, they stopped producing them. And so I explained this to the customer, thinking, you know, he could tell me what the date was. We could just move forward and be done with it. So he waits until about 7 o'clock, and then he messages back and says, I'll have my father send you pictures. Okay. Well, a few minutes later, then he sends me screenshots of something that he has found on the internet. And it turned out it was a 2012 Dixon. So that meant I could work on it. He says, this is a picture I found online of Dad's mower. But the difference is the previous owner swapped out the engine for a Kawasaki. Well, I thought Briggs & Stratton put engines on the Dixon. So I had to Google that because I wasn't sure. I thought, how does that even match up? Turns out there was the upper end of the residential mowers, right below the commercial mower. They put Kohler on. So this person has taken the Kohler engine off and putting a Kawasaki engine on. Oh, I just knew that was going to be a nightmare. I mean, I just knew it. Because of the wiring. Now, there could be other problems with this too. For example, the shaft size. Your shaft size has to be the exact length and the exact diameter to work. And so that's one of the first things you want to check if you're going to swap out an engine. the thing I always suggest, if you're going to swap out an engine, just get the engine that came off of it. It's so much easier. It's like plug and play. You take the engine off, 4 bolts on the bottom, undo the wiring, undo the carburetor linkage. Is there anything I'm missing? There might be something I'm missing, but I can't think of what that would be. You lift the engine up, you put the new one in, you plug everything back in. It's just that simple. And probably only takes a half hour to 45 minutes to do. It's just not that hard. Oh, of course, you got to get up underneath there and you got to remove the PTO. But again, still pretty simple. I knew I was missing something. But you do that while you're up underneath there removing the 4 bolts. So when you put a different brand engine in it, the first thing that goes is the wiring. The wiring will never match up. I don't know why each company wires it a little bit differently. I mean, it has all the same functions and features, but it's going to be different. It's not plug and play. So you have to have a meter to know what's going where. And you need to discover this before you take the engine off. This wire goes to the carburetor. This wire goes to the voltage regulator. This wire goes to the ignition coil shutoff, the ground wire. And you got to trace all that out. And as soon as you don't, you put the new engine on, people, I would say the majority of people that do this, and it's usually just guys who are hobbyists. Oh, I got this mower and I want to trade it out. My guess what it was is, it's just a guess, since it was an upper end residential lawnmower, it was a commercial guy. So he didn't have a commercial mower, but he bought this upper end one, and he ran that Kohler to death. So he puts in the Kawasaki, which is usually better for commercial use because they got better cooling and they use cast iron. So it can withstand the heat a lot longer. But even at that, if you use 40 weight oil, you can make a Kohler last a long time, as long as the Kawasaki. So anyway, hard telling what happened. They ran out of oil or whatever. So they, my bet is they ran it so hard. They saw this Kawasaki. They thought, oh, we'll put it on there. Well, they sold it. Well, why'd they sell it? You figure you get what, 5 or 6 years out of a mower, even if you're using it commercially. So let's say it's 6 years. That puts you to 2018. You put a new engine on it. You should be able to get it to, I don't know what, 2024. This is 2026. So they've sold it. My guess is they sold it because it never ran right. But one of the first things that you're going to end up bypassing, because it's just so much easier just to bypass it than to try to figure it out, because it does get complicated, is the safety features. All the seat switch, the brake, the PTO, all that you're going to bypass. And essentially what you're going to do is cut it off. And what happens is let's say forget about the seat switch, but let's say there's an interlock, so the seat switch and the blade engagement. You want to step off the lawnmower, so that interlock says, okay, the PTO needs to be shut off, and you need to have your brake pushed in. So all those interlocks have to work. And if it doesn't, the ignition coil, what it does is sends a signal to the ignition coil and shuts it off, just like your key switch would. Your key switch shuts off the ignition coil. Well, since you just bypassed all that, you can literally step off the mower with the blades running and it moving down the hill. No brakes and all that stuff. So legally, I cannot do that. Now, if the customer has overridden a safety switch and they bring it to me and they ask me to change the tire or fix the carburetor, I don't have to mess with that safety switch. But since this customer said it won't start, it has an ignition problem, that means it's an electrical problem. Well, why do we have an electrical problem? My brain tells me because somebody rewired the whole thing. Maybe the fuse, if they even have a fuse in it. Maybe it burned up a wire because they don't have a fuse. So that means I got to make sure all those safety switches work, which is fine. I could do that. But is he really wanting to go pay all the money that it's going to cost to wire all that? And it's not like you can get online and just buy a new harness for the, because you can buy new harnesses if your wires get messed up or the mice eat it up. You can't go online because it doesn't hook up right. So no matter what happens, you're going to be messing with it for hours, getting to each safety switch, making sure they all interlock correctly. So so I can't bypass that. I have to, legally I have to do it, because if I charged him for it and he flipped it over and the blades were still spinning and cut him all up, they can sue me and I would be liable for that. I can't do that. So I messaged him again. This is at 7:30 at night, and I said, and I had AI write it up for me. I said, you know, I can't take this job. It's for all the reasons I just said. The safety switches. Well, that the mail showed up and got my packages at like 9:47, so reasonable amount of time. And it was not the guy who normally delivers, so that was a plus. Well, I'm not saying that was a plus. I'm just saying that might be why I got here early, you know, on time. So I opened up my first 2 packages. I got 3. The thing is, my brain was saying I shouldn't have 3. I should only have 2. But sometimes I miss a thing on Amazon because I order so much. So opened my first 2 packages and got what I needed, and then opened the third one, and I realized from the contents in there wasn't mine. It was maternity stuff. And so now I felt bad that I opened somebody else's package. I looked and it was wrong address. So I had to walk that back up to the post office and get that returned. I don't mean to get anybody in trouble. That's not what it was. He says, your address? And he named off the address on the package. I said, no, my address. And I named off my address. And he says, okay, thanks. So I guess that means he's going to chew out the post guy, the post delivery guy. I hope not, because I mean, got here in record time. That was great. So, well, I don't know where I was at. We were talking about the engine. So anyway, it would have been a wiring nightmare. I'm sorry that I don't remember exactly where I left off, and I didn't want the responsibility. So I messaged him and I told him that. Now again, this is 7:30 at night. So yeah, I just don't know what to think about people who message at night and those who cuss. So if a person cusses at me within the first conversation, you know, within 30 seconds of meeting me, I drop off the business right there. Just a matter of fact, last May, someone called and he was asking if I'd come pick it up, and I told him, I think I told you this in yesterday's video, and he says, don't F it up. And I said, well, okay, well, I won't, because I'm not going to come pick it up. You know, I didn't do anything to get cussed at yet. And I hung up. Well, he calls back a couple days ago, acting like I had forgotten. But I put it right in, you know, you can name the number, and I named it cussed at me. So I knew the person calling me had cussed at me in the past, and I told him to go away. That's how I keep track of who's, of course I could block the number, but. So I asked him, I said, did we have a conflict in the past? No, yeah, I've never brought my stuff to you before. And I said, but I named your number, cussed at me. Did you cuss at me at some point? He says, I'm sorry, sir. And I said, I'm sorry, our personalities just aren't going to match. Customer service in the lawnmower repair industry is the toughest I've ever seen, and I'm not good at it. And I said, so thank you very much for your call, and I hung up. I know somebody's going to say, oh no, you should have gave him, you know, forgiveness. Well, I can forgive and still not do business for him, because his personality clearly suggests that he's going to be difficult. Well, same thing with Sunday callers. Anytime somebody calls on Sunday, it's going to be a difficult customer. I don't know the personality and why that is, but they're always difficult. I don't think I've ever had somebody call on Sunday and it turned out to be a decent customer. Well, this guy has done work. I've done work for him before. Did a weed eater not that long ago, as a matter of fact. So him messaging on Sunday, well, and then the thing is, when he came to pick it up, he used the F word. Now, it was not offensively towards me or anything. It was, I don't know. I mean, it was completely like kind of like a sense of humor type of F word. But regardless, he used it. And I thought, you know, was that really necessary? And you know, I guess some people just use it just to be using it. But then he calls on Sunday, and so my brain's racing. And of course, then I reply to him right away within a half hour. Yeah, he ghosts me until 7 o'clock, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, and then he messages me at 7. But it all ended on a good note, and that was what's great. Is after I told him I wasn't going to take it, he said, you know, that's completely understandable. I understand. Thanks for your time. And I thought, you know what? Maybe the Sunday caller isn't that bad. Maybe the cusser isn't that bad. But I'm still going to be cautious. I'm not changing my process to find out. So I guess I better get busy on this pressure washer and get that carb changed since the part got here early. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you the video over to my other channel. I'd really appreciate it if you go check it out. So if I can inspire you. I don't know, don't change, put a wrong engine on your mower. So you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.